Hi friends, welcome back. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Maryland. It is still chilly, but I really enjoyed walking around my yard this morning and just seeing all of the signs of spring with the daffodils popping up and the tulips starting to peep through. I am so excited for garden season. I'm sure many of you are as well. Hopefully we get an early spring and all of that is here sooner than later. Today, I'm gonna work inside where it is a little bit warmer and start addressing some of my houseplants. I moved a couple from outside in the fall, and then I just was moving some around at Christmas time. I wanted to get them out of the way for some Christmas decorations. They have been fine in my bathtub. They have been enjoying all of that moisture, humidity, all of the sunshine, not complaining at all, but I am personally just ready to move them out and disperse them through the rest of my house just to add a little bit more green throughout the house. I'm not spring decorating quite yet, but I think that will just brighten things up a little bit. So I'm gonna work at staking some and repotting some, potting up some paperweight bulbs that I have, and just kind of checking those tasks off the list. And then I would also really like to share with you one of my favorite recipes for entertaining. It's not really a recipe, it's more of a dish, but with Super Bowl Sunday coming up, we are personally hosting 30 people. I thought that it would be the perfect time to share with you one of my favorite things that I make for entertaining at our home, or entertain if I, take it somewhere else for a party. It is always the biggest hit of the party. I am definitely known for bringing this salad to parties. Everybody loves it whenever I bring it. It's just kind of like a breath of fresh air. It's like a lot of fresh greenery, and people are just grateful to have it because a lot of times there's, a lot of junk at parties. So it's just a really nice change of pace. So I'm gonna show you how I put that together. Let's get started. All right, everything is on the table. I did not film that because some of these pots were really heavy and it was just not very pretty. So I just put them all on the dining room table, and I'm just gonna give you a quick glance. This is the Monstera plant that I have that is looking pretty sad right now. It is flopping all over the place and desperately needs to be staked. So I'm gonna work on that with some stakes that I have that are not very pretty looking. They're from the outside. The moss pole that I got actually broke. So I am just gonna use some regular stakes for the time being. And I'm actually not sure that this is a true Monstera. I think it is a mini Monstera, which is, oh no, I'm forgetting the family that it's a part of, but I'll put that up on the screen. I don't know. When I bought it, I thought it said Monstera, but it doesn't have the, what is it? The holes in the leaves. I forget what they're called now. And I know that sometimes that can just take time. This one is very damaged. This one does have the holes, but I don't know. Not exactly sure which variety it is, but anyway, I also have this little wire vine that I may try to put on a topiary. And this is the Swiss cheese Monstera. This is part of that whole family. I really like this plant, and I'm gonna leave this in this pot, but I'm going to propagate it. My daughter got me this little propagating station for my birthday, so I just thought it would be fun to take some cuttings and put them in there. And then This is another Swiss cheese plant that I propagated in a ball jar. So that's working on growing. I'll probably just leave that in that pot. A spider plant that really needs to be repotted because it's just not doing very well. I'm not getting any like baby spider plants on it. So I'm gonna try repotting that. And then this is my Eugenia topiary that is looking a little wonky and definitely it always loses leaves in the winter time when I bring it inside. So it's looking pretty sparse. I may just leave that as is and get a little plant stand to put that on because I may put it in a bigger pot once the spring hits to put it out, excuse me, on my front porch. So I may hold off on actually repotting that right now. So let's make some sense out of all of these plants. And I'm just thinking that I also probably need to deal with my nature-inspired Christmas tree back here. Let me go show you that real quick. If you didn't see any of my Christmas decorating videos, I had put together this nature-inspired Christmas tree using dried hydrangea and roses from my garden. And I've been absolutely loving it, but I think that it might be time to take that down. I would like to use the hydrangea and the roses in another project. Maybe putting them in like a crock, a container, on a wreath. I'm not quite sure, but I want to put my Eugenia topiary right here to the left of our buffet. And I think I'm just ready to move on from the nature-inspired Christmas tree. So let's work on that today too. I'm gonna start with my mini monstera plant. I hope you can hear me okay. I did order a microphone, but it already isn't working, so I don't know what's going on with that, but hopefully you can still hear me. I, like I said, do not have the ideal staking. The moss pole I had broke when I was trying to put it together, so I'm gonna use this green garden stake just for now until I can rig up something a little bit better. I may get some bamboo staking and do like a little like TP trellis for it to kind of wrap around and to support it a little bit better. But I'm just gonna put this green stake in the middle, and then I have this green floral tape that I use a lot in the summertime for my plants. So I am going to just try to gently wrap these branches around the pole. These are very delicate and hard to work with. They break really easily, so I'm gonna try to be as gentle as possible, but I think that there's already some that have broken off, like that one right there. So let's see what I can do just to give this a little bit of support until I come up with a better solution. Okay, this looks like a scraggly mess. I will fully admit that. It is not looking so pretty right now. I didn't even realize how leggy and bad it actually was. So we're just gonna give it a little bit of time just to see how it does. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it in this corner. It kind of covers up my wall lantern and it just looks a mess. So we'll just give it a little bit and see if it can rejuvenate and start looking any better than how it's looking right now. Next, I'm gonna work on my wire vine. I would like to put it in this clay pot, and I had purchased these round metal trellises off of Amazon. So I'm going to transplant it and try to train it to go around the trellis. This is looking a little worse for the wear than I thought. It lost quite a bit of leaves being upstairs. So I'm hoping that potting it into fresh soil, giving it some good drainage will help it to regrow. I'll probably set this outside somewhere in the summertime just to let it really rejuvenate. But overall, I think that this will turn into a pretty cute little decoration. I had put pea grapple in the bottom of the container because it doesn't have any drainage, and you can kind of see that the roots just all grew around the pea gravel. So the pea gravel is all falling out. No more pea gravel. I want the roots to have as much soil as possible to grow and help this plant to rejuvenate. So we're getting rid of all the pea gravel. How this turned out. I think it looks really cute. It's a little lopsided. The one side has a little more greenery than the other, but hopefully it'll fill out nicely. And I didn't need to tie it at all. I just wrapped the tendrils around the trellis and it worked out really well. Next up is my spider plant. I have this pot that is slightly bigger. I'm going to transplant it into. Hopefully it'll help it to encourage it to grow a little bit and give me some babies so I can begin propagating this plant also. Is done. It's all potted up. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with it. It wasn't root bound at all, so I don't really know why it's not growing very well, but I'm just hoping that this fresh soil will help to give it a kickstart. And like I said, I'd love to be able to propagate this one as well. Next up is my Swiss cheese monstera. I don't know the technical scientific name for it. That's just what I call it. But you can see that it too likes to get leggy. It fills out a little bit better than the mini monstera or whatever I have back there. I actually really like this plant a lot. It grows really well. So I'm gonna go and cut a few, just take a few cuttings to propagate in my little propagation station. So when you're cutting to propagate these vining plants like a philodendron or these monsteras, you want to cut below a leaf node, and that is just this little bumpy part right below where the leaf kind of intersects with the stem. That little bumpy part is where you're going to get some roots to grow in the water. So I'm just going to cut right below it, maybe about 1 inch below it. You don't want too much more than that. And now I have 4 leaves on this plant, and I'm just gonna stick it into my propagating station right here. Whoop, that's not gonna work. And then I'm gonna be sure to fill each of these vessels with water and give it a few weeks to a month. And before you know it, you will have brand new plants that you can plant into a pot out into soil. So I'm gonna go through and just take a couple more cuttings and put it in a nice sunny windowsill, and we'll be good to go. This is also a good way to rejuvenate the plant if you don't want it getting too long and leggy, and if you don't want it to climb up a trellis. I just currently have mine sitting on our side table in our bedroom, so it's not really climbing anywhere. So I just kind of keep it trimmed so that it stays nice and tidy and doesn't get too leggy on me. There you go. It's the node that I cut just below it. So here are all of my monstera kind of flopping a little bit. I'll have to rearrange them a little bit, but there they are, ready to give me some new plants. Well, I am super happy with how everything turned out and really thrilled with the greenery added back to my great room here. Really loving this topiary, although I did overfill it a little bit with soil, so it's a little bit mounded with dirt there. And I did add the pea gravel for some mulching. I think it turned out really cute. And this is still my arrangement from Christmas, you guys. This is still my green giant arborvitae up here. Completely dried out, but still looking pretty good. I probably should replace that though with something that's not so dry. And I probably could use something else in that little grouping right there. But overall, happy with it. And then I'll pan you around here. I just have a little boxwood wreath up there to add a little bit of green. Everything is pretty neutral on the inside. It's like a party out back, and it's all calm on the inside. I have a snake plant right here that is doing good, and a philodendron that I did not show you yet. And here is my wreath that I made that is absolutely not perfect, but I'm really liking it. I like how I reused the hydrangeas and the roses, and it just gives something special to this corner that doesn't really have a whole lot going on. So I would love to find something taller for this corner right here, just to give a little bit of green, some color, maybe some frames around the TV or something. I always miss my Christmas tree so much when the Christmas season is over. So I'm gonna take you into my dining room and show you in there real quick and get started on my paperweights, and then it's about time that we get started on that salad. Quick stop at my sink. I really like this little propagation station right here. I think that it'll work really well there as long as it doesn't fall off. I think that those Monstera will really love their life because this window gets a good amount of sun. So I think that looks really cute. And my dining room is looking a little cleaner than it was. It was getting pretty messy there with all of the projects that I had going on. But I am enjoying, even if my Monstera, mini Monstera is scraggly looking, I think that that greenery looks nice. And my Eugenia topiary is looking good right in this corner. I will take this out on my porch when the weather warms up and repot it into a bigger pot. And this plant stand is gonna be a DIY makeover soon. This is something my mom picked up from a thrift store, and I'm gonna strip that probably and paint it. And I still have this little grouping of some hydrangeas and one of my silver trays, picture from England, just a cute little house. And then I just stuck some of my glassware up on my buffet that I had inside of it, just to put a little something up there. Nothing too crazy right now. And then I really like this little grouping right here. I decided to transplant the cheese plant, what is it? The little mini Monstera that I had up in my bedroom. I transplanted that one into this pot inside of this antique water jug because it was already grown and I really wanted something for instant impact. So I put that in there. I think it looks really cute and it'll trail over that real nicely. And then my spider plant that I repotted, and I decided to go grab the cactus that was in my bathroom. So that pot is not exactly the aesthetic that I'm going for. It's a little more modern than some of my stuff, but I think it still looks pretty cute. So I'm happy with that. Let's get going on the paperweights. I got these paperweights right around Christmas time. They had them on 50% off clearance sale when they had their hellebores on clearance. So I went ahead and snagged a few boxes. I couldn't resist that price. So today I am going to put them into this big bowl to put on my dining room table right here. For paperweights, you don't need to plant them in soil. You can plant them in soil, but all you really need is any kind of a medium, like pea gravel, what I have here. You can use soil. Really, those are probably the two best options for paperweights. And you don't need a deep pot or dish. It can be only a few inches deep. So this bowl is probably maybe 3 inches deep, which will be just fine. So all we're gonna do is take the bulb and place them on top of the gravel, fill it with water up until just when it touches the roots. You don't want the roots to start rotting. I mean, not the roots, the bulbs to start rotting on you. So you just want the water to touch the bottom of the bulb. Oh, I can see these are already putting off little sprouts. Just so that it signals to the bulb to start growing. These actually look really good. I'm not sure. It came with this little, it looks like a peat moss disc of some sort that maybe you're supposed to put in the bottom of this container because it's a kit. And yeah, it doesn't really specify what it is. I'm sure that the directions are in there somewhere, but I'm not gonna use that. I'm using this, and they're already kind of starting to grow a little bit crooked, a little bit wonky, but they hopefully will straighten themselves out. And I'm just going to gently push them down into my pea gravel with, oh wow, this one looks really crazy. And see, I don't know if you can see from this far, but the roots are right there on the bottom. And just push them down real lightly. And then I am going to use a trick that I recently learned about from, I think, watching a YouTube video, but I can't remember what. It's basically, sorry about that noise. It's basically giving them, once they have put on a couple of inches of growth at the top, I'm going to start watering them with a solution of alcohol and water. And what that does is it stunts the growth of the paperweight ball, because paperweights can get very, very tall, and then they can flop over and not always look the prettiest. So if you put them in a mixture, if you begin watering them with a mixture of 7 parts water to 1 part alcohol, it actually stunts the growth of the paperweight and just makes them a little bit more manageable so they don't get quite so crazy on you. So I am going to give that a try. You're supposed to wait until they've put on, you know, a few inches of growth, and then you would replace your watering with 7 parts water to 1 part of alcohol. And every time you need to give them water, you would give them that solution. So I'm gonna give that a try. And sometimes what other people do if they are getting too tall is just go out into your yard and find some nice tall straight branches and stick them kind of among the paperweight arrangement, and those branches will help to support the paperweights as they get bigger. So these are all looking pretty good. This one is maybe the only one, but it actually does have a little bit of growth in there also. So I'm happy with how these are looking for clearance bulbs. They actually look pretty healthy. And I'm just gonna fill this bowl up with water. Again, just until it touches the bottom of the root system. Not, you know, covering the bulb Don't want it to be rotting. Spilling out. I see it coming up. Okay. I think that that looks pretty good. And then in a few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks or so, I will begin to see some paperwhites blooming on our dining room table. So I'm excited to see what they look like. I don't know about you, but I am getting hungry. So let's get started on this salad. I am gonna show you what started it all was this blue speckleware plate platter that I have that my mom actually got me maybe 15 or more years ago. She has one herself. She would take this to family gatherings, big parties, and she would fill it with a Cobb Lake salad. And it was always the biggest hit. Everybody loved it. So that's where I got the idea from. Today, I am not gonna make it on this giant platter because it's just our family tonight and it's a little too early to pre-make anything for the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna use this smaller platter, rectangular speckleware that I have. This will suit us a little bit better for tonight. I'm gonna start layering the ingredients. You can make this as fancy as you wanna make it, different varieties, whatever you wanna do. This is a great thing in the summertime when you have a lot of things in your garden that you're trying to use up. A really great thing to take to parties at that time. So let's get started. I'm just gonna use 1 container of spring mix. This is the 5-ounce container. I buy organic, you can buy whatever you wanna buy. You just dump it on. Next, I have 1 small container of these cherry tomatoes. I like these the best because they don't get quite as mushy as the slicing tomatoes. So I'm gonna give them a good wash and just slice them in half and layer them on. Up next is a cucumber. I'm just gonna peel it and cut it into bite-sized pieces. So we're gonna shred some carrots. I am going to use my food processor, but you can dice them or do whatever is easiest for you. Next, I'm gonna work on the eggs. I'm gonna make some hard-boiled eggs. This is my favorite way to make hard-boiled eggs. I just put them in cold into the pan. I'll probably do about 6 for this size salad. Just put them in cold, put them on your burner, and then we're gonna fill this with cold water, bring it to a boil, and then let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then they should be good to go. I forgot to say that after this comes to a boil, you're gonna wanna turn it off completely, and then you're gonna let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm gonna start working on the bacon. We are a big bacon family. I try to buy the more natural bacon, nitrate-free, no antibiotics, raised as naturally as possible. That's just our preference. So I understand if you're not a bacon person, you can totally leave that out, but I am going to get this ready to bake. I will show you my favorite method for baking bacon also. Kind of similar to how I do the hard-boiled eggs. I have a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. Don't mind my old kind of grungy cookie sheet. And I'm just going to lay out the bacon all in a line, and then when I'm done laying it out, I'm going to put it into a cold oven at 400 degrees and set my timer for about 20 minutes and then check it. And typically I rotate the tray at 20 minutes and need to bake it a little bit longer, maybe about 5 more minutes, just until it gets nice and crispy. This is one of the best ways that I have found to make bacon, and you don't have the mess of trying to make it on the stove. Sometimes I will make it in my air fryer, but that kind of leaves a mess also, makes the air fryer real messy, and it's just more work for me to have to clean up. So this is definitely what I prefer to make my bacon. I have my eggs resting over here. While they're resting, I'm gonna dice up some red onion. We like to use red onion, but you can definitely use whatever onion you prefer. But I also think it gives the salad just a pretty color. My eggs have sat for 20 minutes, so I'm gonna take the lid off and take them over and rinse them in some really cold water. Check on the bacon. It is looking just about perfect. I like it nice and crispy brown. Looks good. That's it, guys. A simple Super Bowl salad. If you want to make it for the upcoming Super Bowl, you can put whatever cheese you want with this. I usually put some cheese on the side, like cheddar. You can do blue cheese, whatever you would like. We are going to dive into this. I'm going to grill up some chicken to make it a complete meal. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that you got some inspiration. I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye.